Welcome to the second video of section 3 on constructing the supporting services. In this video, we're going to be adding data to the application. We're going to have two data services, one for the animals in our application and one for the terrains. These are going to be really basic services, implementing only a couple of methods. We're going to use a test-first approach to make sure our code works like it should. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is add Angular mocks to our project so we can start testing our code. The AngularJS mocks module provides support to inject and mock Angular modules into unit tests. Let's use Bower to install Angular-mocks. Next, we'll add this dependency along with all the other Bower components to our Karma configuration file as well. This way Karma knows which libraries to load, otherwise our tests would fail anyway. Make sure to add all three dependencies, so AngularJS, Angular local storage, and Angular mocks. We'll also have to make a quick adjustment here and only explicitly use just our source script for the tests. Otherwise it would load the script from the Bower components folder as well due to our globbing pattern. So let's go ahead and change that to source scripts and then use the globbing pattern for the JavaScript files. Let's add our animal data to a constant. We're going to create a new file in a new directory called constants. This file is going to be called animals collection. Conventionally, constants are named using all caps, so we'll do just that. We'll name our constant animals_collection. You don't have to type all this data yourself, you can just find it in the code. You can go ahead and copy paste that. Let's also create our empty animal service before writing the test spec. We'll add it to the services directory and call it animals.js. We'll instantiate the service, but don't add any code to it just yet. The only thing I'm going to do is inject the animals collection and then set up a reference to the service. This animal service has to do two things. It has to either find all of the animals or a specific one. Later on, we're going to expand this functionality even more. So let's create a test suite to make sure our code will work as intended. Let's create one big suite for the entire service first. Let's call it animals just like the service. Okay, before we can start testing, we're going to need to tell Angular to inject our application because it doesn't know to bootstrap it otherwise, and then add the module packed. We'll add a suite per category, so let's call the first one finding all animals, and the second one finding a specific animal. A suite is basically a way of grouping related tests together. In the first test, it should just return all the animals in the collection, so we'll check if the length is above 0. In the second and third test, we're going to test our code for finding a specific animal. When an ID is given, it should return that existing animal. Make sure to inject the animal service in the function, and then we'll just check if the animal that we find, let's use silverback gorilla here, is actually found and exists. If an ID is given that is not present in the collection, we obviously expect the animal to be undefined. Again, let's inject the animal service and then find an animal that shouldn't exist. Let's use I don't exist, for example, and then we should verify that it doesn't exist. Let's run our tests. And there we go. We have 3 red tests. Let's make them turn green and pass. Okay, open up the animal service, and first of all, let's make sure we've injected the animals collection constant. I've done that already, as you can see. The find all function is really easy since we just need to return the collection we added to our constant earlier. The reason we use a method for this is that we might want to add some more logic to it later on. Next up is the find function to find the specific animal. We'll pass in an animal ID and then loop the collection until an animal is found. So let's just loop the animals collection here. If it's found, we'll return that animal. If no animal is found, we'll return undefined instead. Let's run our tests again to make sure our code works like it should. And there we go, they're all green. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for the terrains. We'll create a new file in the constants folder. This time we're going to call it terrains collection. Just like with the animals, paste in the terrain data you can find in the code folder, and that's it for this file. Let's add a new service file called terrains. Instantiate the service, but leave it empty again for now. We'll write our tests first. Again, the only thing I'm going to do is inject the terrains collection and save the reference to the service. Like we did with the animal service, we're going to create a small test file to test the functionality of our service. The functionality is the exact same, so go ahead and copy the animals tests and adjust the names so they fit our tests for the terrain. Make sure to get every reference in here, so animals and animal. Also, don't forget about the ID, the silverback gorilla one. We'll do the same thing for our terrain service and copy over the functionality from the animal service. Again, just make sure to adjust all the names and references from animal to terrain. Let's run the tests again, and they should all pass. Alright, awesome. Looks like we're done. In this section, we've implemented basic services that are going to handle loading the application's data. In the next section, we're going to start building out the core of the application, which is the arena.